Hello everyone and welcome to Squirrel Pie Productions. My name is Tommi. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as DynamiteTrujillo. Welcome to episode 90 of my podcast. Thank you so much for being here. If you're a new viewer, welcome, and if you are a returning viewer, a big welcome back. I'm so happy that you are here. Today is a really nice, cloudy, cold, breezy day in January here on the Northern California coast where I'm coming to you from. We have show notes for this episode, as we do these days, in the description box below. That's where you'll find links to my social media stuff and the Moonstone Dyeworks shop, which is my hand-dyed yarn shop, and everything I talk about in this week's episode. Would you like to know what I'm wearing this week? It's a fantastic sweater. It's one of my very favorite sweaters that I have knit. It is the Calligraphy Cardigan by Hannah Fettig. It's a DK weight button-up cardigan with this big old collar, and I really, really like it. I knit this using Abundant Earth fibers. They're DK weight. It's a non-superwash wool. That's all I know about it. It's nice and love it. And I got the yarn at Stitches West last year. I'm still debating Stitches West this year. I really, really, really want to go. And I have almost hit the purchase button on Airbnb like 5 times, but I don't know yet. I always go. I usually always go. It is about 5 hours south of where I am in Santa Clara, California. I'm in Arcata, California. So it's quite a drive. If I went, I would stay 2 nights in Santa Clara at an Airbnb and hopefully meet many of my fellow California knitters and crocheters and yarn festival goers. But it's a little bit of a hassle because it's a very long drive for me by myself. For me, it's a very long drive. And I would be leaving, you know, it'd be a bunch of coordinating I'd have to do. So I don't know yet. But I'm probably gonna go. Are you going? Convince me to go. Okay, so this week I have a few things to share. I didn't do all that much this week though, these past 2 weeks. The first thing I have to share with you is a finished object. I have 2 finished objects today, and they're both things that I started and finished since the last episode. So the first thing is a flax pullover. So I knit a flax pullover, which is a pattern by Tin Can Knits in the 1 to 2 year size. This is a pullover pattern that ranges from a newborn size up to adult sizes. And this is for my daughter Lucy. And this is the 3rd time I've knit this pattern. The first time I knit it in the newborn size. Second time I knit it in the 6 to 12 month size, and now I knit it in the 1 to 2 year size. So that could be a really fun tradition around here, that I just knit her a flax pullover for every next size up she goes. Anyway, I really love this pattern. So it's a top-down raglan pullover. It's very basic, it's very simple. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. You have probably heard of it. The only thing I did majorly differently was I omitted the garter panel. So this pattern has you do a small garter panel down the whole top of the sleeve and the shoulder. I didn't do it. I just didn't feel like it. I used hand spun to make this sweater. So the main yarn is Spunky Eclectic Merino in the Black Pearl colorway. Now this roving was a dark merino. It was a dark brown, 100% non-superwash merino. And the dye was this kind of maroon and teal green, or forest green, whatever that is. But you can see it's pretty heavily brown behind those colors. So really like that. It was a worsted-ish weight. I used the needle sizes called for in the pattern, which I believe is an 8 and a 6. And the gauge is great. I love it. I ran out though. I used the full skein. And as I'm going up in these sizes, 1 skein of hand spun is definitely not enough for a full sweater. So I knew I was gonna run out, but I have all kinds of stuff in my leftovers bin and hand spun and stuff like that. So I knew I was just gonna pick something else up and added in at the hem and at the sleeves, which is what I did. So the add-in yarn that I used, which I added in right here, and on the body it blends in a lot better than on the sleeves. On the sleeves it's definitely more contrasting. But this is some handspun that I think I also included in my last flax pullover for her. I wrote it down, look. It's Into the World English Shetland in the Androsti colorway. And this is definitely a lighter weight than the main yarn that I used. So the gauge is a lot looser in this part, but that's okay. Kind of what I did to make up for that is I used an 8 here, and then I switched yarns, and I could tell this yarn was way thinner. And so about here, I switched down to a size 7, and then I did a 6 on the ribbing. So it's fine. It's a little wonky, but that's okay. And I used up every single last bit of both of those handspuns, which is something that makes me like intensely happy when I do it. And is that it? I think that's, oh, also a cool thing that I did is I added short rows to the back. I did 2 short rows in the back just underneath the ribbing because this sweater's neckline is a little basic. It's really wide and there's no shaping in it. So I decided to add a couple of short rows. It brought the back up just a little tiny bit. And also I added this little tie right here, which just tells me that that's the back. You can kind of see it right there too. So that's pretty much it. It is a little big for her. I find that the flax sweaters as written are a little short and a little wide for my daughter, who's very tall and skinny. So this definitely does. It's a little stiff, the fabric, and it sits a little like, when she wears it, the neckline kind of gapes out a little bit. But I think she'll grow into it, but I think by the time she grows into it widthwise, she'll have grown out of it lengthwise. So if I have to add more length later, I can do that. It'll be in a 3rd yarn. But I'm pretty excited about this. I really wanted a new sweater for her because she has been too big for the last flax sweater that I made her for a little while. Next up for her, I really want to make her a cardigan. So I have my eye on a couple of really cool cardigan patterns. I have some Malabrigo worsted weight yarn. I have 3 skeins of it in my stash that have been in my stash for years. And I think it'd be really cool to make her a cardigan out of that. It's in the aqua colorway, I think is what it's called. It's a really rich, like tealy, deep bluey green kind of color. And yardage wise, I'm pretty sure I have just enough for a sweater that I'm looking at for her. So that's gonna be fun. So flax, hooray. The next finished object that I have is a pair of fingerless mitts. And I cast these on and then bound them off within like 2 days of each other. Super quick. And this is them. So this is the, I don't even know what it is. It's the Wild Feather Mitts by Cecily Glowick McDonald. And it is from issue 2 of Making Magazine, which is the Fauna issue. It has like one of the best covers, I think. It's these feathers that are super pretty. And yeah, this is probably the 2nd or 3rd thing I've ever knit actually from Making Magazine, and I used to have a subscription and I have like probably 6 of these magazines. So that was nice. I made these as a gift for a coworker. It is her birthday, so these are going to be going to her next week. And I was just looking for something. I was looking for fingerless mitts because I think fingerless mitts are kind of universally liked among non-knitters. I thought it'd be a little safer than a cowl or a hat. Like, not everybody likes to wear hats, and some people look at cowls and are like, what is that? So I thought fingerless mitts would be pretty safe. And I was looking around on Ravelry, and I searched Ravelry. I kind of wanted to use worsted weight yarn so that they'd go by a little quick. And I used the search function where you can search only what's already in your library, so I wouldn't have to buy a pattern. And I entered all of my magazines into my Ravelry library, which you can do even if you don't have digital copies of them. So these came up. There were only a few worsted weight fingerless mitts in my library, and this was one of them, and it was perfect. And it's got this cool pattern on it. It's just a really simple basic knit purl pattern that gives you kind of a chevron-y effect. The only modification that I made is that I went down a needle size for the ribbing, because the pattern just calls for you to use one needle size throughout the whole thing, and I'm not down with that. I don't believe in not going down a size for ribbing, so that's what I did. And I used some leftovers that were in my scrap bin. I have a huge scrap bin of yarn that, you know, are leftovers, and this is what I still have left. So this is Cascade 220. And I looked it up from my original project because I had no idea what it was, but I remembered what project I used it for. So another awesome Ravelry thing is I went back into my Ravelry projects, looked up the project that I knew this was in, and I figured out what yarn it was. So it's Cascade 220, the non-superwash kind, which I know I'm gonna have to tell her not to throw these in the washing machine. And it's in the Summer Sky Heather colorway. So I had 70 grams of this in my scrap stash, and now I'm down to 30 grams. I really wish I would have just used it all up. I really wanted to get rid of this, but I don't know. I can't throw away yarn. I just can't do it. I will save it forever. But the project that I originally used that yarn in is so super cool. I love it so much. It's a Dinosaur, and I will put a picture of it here. It is the, I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it's a fun, no, it's Basil the Boogie Woogie Dinosaur or something. It's by Rebecca Danger, who writes all kinds of really amazing toy patterns. I love Rebecca Danger's pattern, her patterns. And this is the only one that I've ever actually made, but I fell in love with it. And when my friend, quite a long time ago, had her first baby, I made it for her. So I don't have the dinosaur anymore, but I have been very tempted to knit one for Lucy because it's so cute, but you know, I don't know. I'm not the biggest toy knitter. I just kind of don't love it. But, so yeah, I was really happy to use some of my leftover stash, and I love these mitts. They came out really, really nice and really cozy. The size is great. It only comes in one size though, which I think is kind of bunk for a pattern to only have one size for mitts like this. And I have a pretty small hand and they fit me good. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure they'll fit her. Who knows? I have no idea what size her hands are. But I'm sure they will fit fine. So these are the Wild Feather Mitts by Cecily Glawick MacDonald. I think this is also my very first Cecily Glawick MacDonald pattern that I've knit. She's a really great pattern writer in terms of I like a lot of the patterns that I've seen her release. The pattern as written was fine. It had a few spots in it where it was like really unclear, but because I kind of know what I'm doing, I was like, yeah, I know what you mean, but like you could have said so, but it didn't matter. It was a very small pattern. It's, you know, fingerless mitts in a magazine. It was easy. They were easy. They were fun. I liked them. Those are my finished objects, and I've been working mostly on those. I only have one work in progress, which is kind of unusual for me. But here it is. It is living in my Emerald Fibers project bag, which I adore. I've been working on these socks for a while, and I'm almost done. So I am knitting some socks for a friend of mine, and I have one of them finished. So this is West Yorkshire Spinners in the bird collection. This is the owl colorway. This is like their 4-ply sock or something like that. I don't know. It's their regular sock yarn. I love it. I love this sock yarn so much. And I have one done. I did a top-down stockinette sock with 2x2 ribbing at the cuff. I did a 72 stitch cast on a size 0 needle, and I did a heel flapping gusset, as I do. And I did a plain wedge toe, but I am unhappy with the toe. I did have him, my friend, try this on, and it does fit like the overall length fits good, but I don't like how pointy the toe is. So I knew what overall length I needed to make it, so I started my toe like whatever inches like less that length. And once I got to the point where I would normally do my Kitchener, which is with more stitches than that, it wasn't long enough, so I just kept decreasing to make it longer, and it made it pointier. And when he tried it on, he's like, yeah, it's fine, it's great, it fits good, I love it. But I didn't love it. Just the toe is way too pointy. It looked weird. So I'm gonna rip out the toe, but what I'm doing first is knitting the second sock. So this is the second one, and I've got it on my Chiaogu Mini Twist Interchangeables, which I love. And I am going to do what I feel like I should have done originally on this sock, see how it looks, and then if it's perfect, I will rip out this toe and do it the way I do this toe. So I'm at the point now where I do want to start decreasing for the toe. So I'm almost done. And I really like working on these. Here's the yarn. I really love this kind of sock yarn. It's so fun to work with. It's kind of that like, it's a superwash wool, but it's kind of got that toothiness to it that I really, really love. So these have been fun to work on. But they've been taking breaks here and there because I've wanted to try them on him, so I have to kind of wait until we get together. And stuff. Is there anything else? That's it. That's all my knitting. That was nice and quick. Okay. There is some other stuff though. Moonstone Dyeworks shop update stuff. Hey. I did some dyeing recently. I came up with my Valentine's Day colorway for the year. I really love doing seasonal colorways like a whole lot. So I came up with Valentine's Day colorway, and I have named it Dead Flowers. So here it is. My Valentine's Day colorway for 2020 is Dead Flowers. And I really, really like it. It is currently up in the shop. If you're interested, you can go check it out. Right now, it's only available as a ready-to-ship yarn on Merino Sock, which is what this is, and Merino DK, but I do have it up as a pre-order in case you wanted more than what's available right now or on a different base. I'm offering it on all of my bases. So, yay! So that's that. I guess that's it about that. Link in the description box below to the shop. Also, moving on from shop update, 2 favorites. I did a swap with Hannah. Hello, Hannah, if you were watching. And we swapped some yarn and some other goodies. And I am going to show you the yarn that she sent me because it is amazing. So Hannah sent me 3 skeins of yarn and a bunch of other really amazing stuff. And it's just all so beautiful. I'm so excited about it. Thank you again so much, Hannah. So the first skein that she sent me is Murray & Co. Wool Goods in this incredible pink and gray colorway. Could it be more me? I don't think so. And it's in the Love Letter colorway. It's gorgeous. I love it. The next skein of yarn that she sent me is from Woolberry Fiber Co. And it is the Reflection colorway. And it is also very gorgeous. Lavender and peach together. That is amazing. That is just amazing. That is amazing. And then the last skein she sent me is, for me, kind of a throwback. I have not used Miss Babs in so long, but I, yes, was one of those people that was super into Miss Babs when I first started knitting. My very first pair of socks that I ever knit was Miss Babs. And I loved them and I became obsessed with them. And I haven't used them in a long time. Don't know why, but I just haven't. And now I have another skein of Miss Babs yarn. So this is the third skein that she sent me, and it is so amazing. Oh, it's gorgeous. Miss Babs is so awesome. It's called South Beach. That is the colorway. And it's in the Hot Shot base. Merino nylon. That was amazing to get in the mail. I'm so excited to use those yarns. I just love doing swaps, so thank you again. That was super fun. And that is pretty much it. That is the whole episode. A nice, short, and sweet one for you this time around. I hope you have been doing really great so far this year. What have you been up to so far in 2020? Are you working on a whole bunch of projects, or are you taking kind of a little break from knitting? Are you crocheting? Are you sewing? Are you going to Stitches West? I would really love to hear about it. If you are and I end up going, I would love to meet you. I would love to meet you in the marketplace. I'm going to be there for a couple days. I'd love to get together and do some stuff. I finally know where the bar is in the hotel that the Stitches West event is, so let's get a drink. If I go, I'm probably going to go. I'm probably going to go. Did you go to VKL? Is it this weekend or was it last weekend? I don't really know. But it's probably going to be fun. I would go if I was in New York. I would love to go to New York. That's a big up there list on my places that I want to go to, is New York. Not only because of like a whole million things that I want to see and do and experience there, which I could go on about, but also because so many knitters are in New York. There's so much great knitting stuff in New York and in the surrounding areas. I feel like it would be so much fun. Anyway, I hope you're having a great time. I would love to hear about what you have been up to. And I guess that's it. If you enjoyed the episode, please do feel free to like and subscribe. I would appreciate that very, very much. And I will see you in 2 weeks. Have fun and stay awesome. Bye.